If you don't know me, my name's Kelsey. I'm a 747 pilot.
Hey Kelsey, nice to meet you. I'm Eddie, and this is my family. This is my Japanese wife Mitsuko and our two daughters. We are an international family. There were many people back in the US in my college days who married, started families in the US, people from different countries like Peru and Spain, Korea and China, India and Japanese. So people from different nationalities who met in the US and started family there. I have an international family as well. We moved to Japan in 2013. I have a Bachelor's of Arts degree in English and International Business and a Master's of Science in Emergency Management. These are some of the areas that I had to study. If you're dealing with natural disasters and how to prevent them, you gotta know the environment where we live. So these are some of the area of studies that I had to learn to study in order to complete my master's program.
I have a way to once and for all prove whether the Earth is flat or not.
All right, Kelsey, I hope you don't mind that I'm having a picture here upside down. I don't mean to offend or anything. I'm just demonstrating that if you believe on a spinning ball Earth, at some point, if you're flying from Buenos Aires to Melbourne, you're gonna have to be upside down flying this airplane.
We'll start off here in Miami and we'll fly down to Buenos Aires, Argentina.
So this is what I was just talking about. If you believe you live on a ball, you're gonna have, this ball has 360 degrees. So if you cross the equator, you would have to be flying at a 90-degree angle. But that doesn't happen.
And you can explore the city, and then we'll go from Buenos Aires down to Melbourne, Australia.
I have several friends who are architects or engineers, and they back the flat earth because they do not account for curvature when building any of their work.
I'm a structural engineer, and I've taken a lot of physics courses in my life, and I started to look into the curvature of the earth, and so I'd found that the flat earth community had created this. Someone out there did this. This is a curvature chart. The flat earthers are making a curvature chart, and they're showing how much curvature would have to be, we would have to see in all directions, because it's a sphere, anywhere on Earth. And this was drawn in AutoCAD, and since I'm an engineer, I have access to AutoCAD. The first thing I did is I went and drew a circle with a radius of 3,959 miles, which is the accepted radius of our Earth. I converted that to feet, which comes out to over 20 million feet, and started plotting points and finding that this is very accurate. This is exactly what you get.
So this is an accurate curvature chart. If you can't see this 8 inches per mile drop, it's because you're not flying over a spinning ball. So here I have an example comparing the two models, the flat earth model and the spinning ball earth. What they call nonsense is what we observe day by day. We see boats and airplanes flying level. It matches reality, proven by experiments. It's common sense, it's supported by equipment like the gyroscope. I have an entire video on the altimeter, you can look in my channel. What I always find is its level, and no flights over Antarctica is possible, as you're gonna see. And the ball Earth doesn't really match reality. We don't see planes flying at a 90-degree angle. I'm from Brazil. I flew New York, São Paulo several times, Atlanta, Miami, all those cities in the US from São Paulo and Rio. So we don't cross the equator at a 90-degree angle. Doesn't match reality, not proven by experiments, doesn't make sense, not supported by flight equipments. Water inexplicably sticks to a ball while insects can fly. So they say gravity holds the oceans down, but little insects and birds can fly, so it doesn't really make sense. And the flights over the Antarctica are fake, it's not possible. So if you believe in a spinning ball, as I told you, don't take as offense, but you would have to be flying upside down just like in this animation.
First, if we were to go from Buenos Aires to go to Melbourne, based off of your map, we would have to fly all the way up, back through America, over part of Canada, some of Asia, and then through the north part of Australia to get all the way down to the south part in the regular global world of Australia, which is where Melbourne is.
No, that's not how it works, Kelsey. I think you probably are familiar with the jet streams, and the pilots that know about the jet streams, they fly with them. So this is the route this airplane flies from South America towards Australia. There are jet streams come both ways. The flights from Buenos Aires or Santiago to Australia, they fly along the jet stream, as Captain Marcelo from Argentina says in this video.
And Buenos Aires-Sydney is the longest flight ever made for any airliner. The inbound flight, due to the winds, depends, arrives up to 16 hours and 45 minutes. Flight time, not block. Just when you take off until...
So this is how you fly from Miami to Buenos Aires. That matches the equipment that is in your airplane, 747. You don't adjust for curvature. You're not crossing the equator at a 90-degree angle. This is how you fly from Miami to Buenos Aires. I've flown from Miami, São Paulo, several times. São Paulo, New York, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. So this is how we fly from North America to South America. And this is how you fly from Buenos Aires to Melbourne. Now, I have written all over here Absol planes. I don't know if you are familiar with Absol planes and what they are. So I don't know if you have any other area of study besides being a pilot, because it's not necessary to have a college degree to become a pilot. All you need is a license. But if you are familiar, those Absol planes, those are among the flattest land on Earth. It means there is no curvature, so you cannot be flying over a ball if 60% of the oceans it's made up by these Absol planes.
There's a section of abyssal plain, a kind of flat-lying section. So now here's the whole world ocean, and the color scheme is not quantified on here, but I can tell you basically what's going on. All the deep blue is abyssal plain, about 5 kilometers deep. And you see it a lot of places.
An abyssal plain is an underwater plain on the deep ocean floor, usually found at depths between 3,000 meters, 9,800 feet, and 6,000 meters, 20,000 feet. Lying generally between the foot of a continental rise and a mid-ocean ridge, abyssal plains cover more than 50% of the Earth's surface. They are among the flattest, smoothest and least explored regions on Earth.
And here is where the professor says all these darker area here are flat, meaning it's flat land. For more information on this flight route from Australia to South America, to watch my video, the Sydney to Santiago flight explained. It's here in my channel.
But you can charter this aircraft and go anywhere you want to go.
So you say that we can chart an aircraft from your company and we can go anywhere we can go. So my question to you is, why didn't you propose a flight over Antarctica to Perth and not Melbourne? Flat Earthers, we don't have any problems about flights to Australia from South America. We know how it flies. It flies along the jet stream. So we don't have any problems. But how about a flight from Buenos Aires to Perth? This is where the problem is.
If you choose my airline to charter the 747 from, I will volunteer to fly that aircraft.
So it would be very nice if you could take us to Perth from Buenos Aires and not to Melbourne, because we, Flat Earthers, we don't have any problems with that flight. We have checked it already. We know how it works. The compass favors the Flat Earth model, does not favor the globe Earth. But why not fly to Perth?
He also mentioned to me that planes have never flown over Antarctica, which is not true.
It is true. Airplanes cannot fly over Antarctica. And if you can prove us wrong, why don't you suggest that we fly from Buenos Aires to Perth instead? Because there is no other way to fly. You can fly over parts of Antarctica, which I'm going to show here, but you cannot really fly over the so-called continent of Antarctica. Here we are at the Great Circle map. This is Perth to Buenos Aires flight. Should be one shot over Antarctica. Distance is right here, 12,592 kilometers, around just over 7,000 miles. Should be an easy flight just fly over the Antarctica. You prove your point that it really can be done, and you prove our flat Earth is wrong. We know these flights cannot take place. The same flight on Google Maps, see how weird it does not show over the Antarctica because it can be done. This matches perfectly with the flat Earth map, actually flying Buenos Aires with the jet stream all around, arriving in Perth. So if you can see Antarctica right in the middle. If you want to go from Buenos Aires to Perth, if you can't go over Antarctica, which you cannot, you fly over with these winds. But this is what we just saw here. This really means that you're going around the perimeter of Antarctica, as we will see on the flat Earth map. You're not really flying over a spinning ball. It's impossible because this flight, these winds, look at this, 171 kilometers and 158 right here. This is supposed to be even faster than the speed of the Earth. It's impossible. Seems like you're pretty near to flat Earth. Seems like you have watched this documentary and you have all your ideas about the flat Earth based on this document. Well, this is a documentary made by globe believers, not by flat earthers. So it's just like you reading a book about Donald Trump written by the Antifa, or watching a movie, Dr. Martin Luther King movie made by the Ku Klux Klan. So if you watch this documentary, you think this is how flat earthers think. It's wrong, because this documentary was made by globe believers. Nobody falls off the flat earth. Flat earth is just like a group of islands put together in the middle of a large ocean, surrounded by this land called Antarctica, which we don't know how far down it goes. So just picture this as an archipelago like this, a group of islands. So let's name each island, let's say North America, South America, Africa, Asia, and Australia. There was not an extra island there for Europe, but this is just for you to have an idea. And then picture the 60th degree parallel, which no one can really navigate any further than that. And we have the Antarctica, the ice wall, as Admiral Byrd said.
We had added nearly 500,000 square miles to the Pacific Ocean. And here is our journey's end. At length we sighted that great natural phenomenon, the ice barrier.
And is no an ice, so we don't know what is beyond that point. We are not allowed. No independent researchers can go there and check what it is. Antarctica is the driest region on Earth with the least average annual precipitation and the highest region in average elevation. It is also the coldest region. The lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth was minus 128 degrees Fahrenheit in 1983 at a Russian research station in Antarctica. Temperatures reach a minimum of less than minus 110 degrees Fahrenheit in winter in the interior and greater than 55 degrees Fahrenheit near the coast in summer. My personal belief is that there is a dome, but I don't know how far into Antarctica you have to travel until you get to the dome, to the limit, to the end of this plane. So I have a circle here. It can be 1,000 miles, 2,000 or 3,000 miles, I don't know. But I believe there is a limit. You cannot go farther. That's why you cannot fly over Antarctica. You fly over this tiny region here. This is what they say. They fly over Antarctica because they only fly over this tiny region here, which they call Antarctica. Just this part here. So this is my questions to you. Why don't you propose a flight over Antarctica to Perth? From Argentina to Perth, this is the two choices you have. Actually, there were 17 pages of a lot of connections, but this is the one with the least connection. Fly Buenos Aires to Frankfurt or any other place in Europe, like let's say Paris or London. From there, you go to Singapore. You got to stop in Singapore. From Singapore, you go to Perth. This is what I found online. It makes no sense on the globe at all that you fly the opposite direction. Or you can fly from Buenos Aires to Houston. I found this option. 3 stops, because you stop in Houston, Los Angeles, you go to Sydney, and then you fly to Perth. Those were the easiest and the quickest options that I could find out of 17 pages that I searched through. There are other options. You go to Miami, Los Angeles, Sydney, Perth. Okay, it's pretty crazy to me. So why not propose a flight over Antarctica from Buenos Aires to Perth, according to the Globe Earth, only 7,000 miles, a little over than that. You should be able, if you fly with the winds, you should be able to make in 12 hours. So why don't you, that's my question to you, why don't you propose a flight from Buenos Aires to Perth? You can totally destroy flat Earth, and you will prove that the Globe Earth is truth, because you will be able to fly over Antarctica. I say it's not possible, we flat Earth say, and we are backed by the simple fact that there are no flights over Antarctica whatsoever. This Buenos Aires to Perth that I'm showing to you right now demonstrates what I'm saying. There's no possible flights over Antarctica from Buenos Aires to Perth, not even a charter flight.